career introductory workshops. The JCC Workforce Program is here year-round, dedicated to helping you with your job and career needs. We have a year-round job placement program. We have a year-round career counseling program, year-round resume writing assistance and interview prep assistance. Anytime during the year that you have these needs, please reach out to us and we will do our very best to assist you. Please share the word about this. Just send us an email to workforce@jccgci.org, and Mirta Hashem, we'll be right in touch. So we've covered, the goal of our workshops is to give you a chance to explore different viable career opportunities that are especially suited for our community. And there's no question one of the very popular career opportunities that's out there is graphic design. It's something which many people that I've met, they have this skill, it's talent, they're artistic, and they manage to translate that artistic talent onto the computer. They pick up the skills to learn these different tools, and they create these beautiful designs that are worthy of being, print designs. And then there's also graphic design that's web-based, and there's so many mediums to express this, and really has been a wonderful. It's been a wonderful outlet for our community, and so I couldn't think of a better person to present tonight than an alumni of CHYE, and this is Mrs. Malka Goldfein, who many years ago actually won our business plan competition. But Malka is a professor of graphic design. She teaches it, and not only that, but she also runs her own company, and she has a tremendous amount of experience. And she's also very detail oriented, which is something very important that you have to have when you're a graphic designer. You want to get all those details down. So she's going to share again, our classic style is that our presenters share three things. They share about the industry, how to get into the industry, what are the financial opportunities within the industry. And after she does that, we will take Q&A, which you could send in questions again to our email, workforce@jccgci, or you could send us a request and we could give you the login, so you could log in and ask your questions directly. So without further ado, I'd like to pass on the presentation to our presenter. So go ahead, Malka, please take over.
All right, just 1 second. Hello, hi everyone. Are you able to see my screen?
No, you have to share. You have to
Right.
hit that share button
Right.
on the bottom. You see it says share my screen,
Yes.
and then you do that, and then we'll see your screen.
All right.
Okay, so here we go. Yes, we see it nice and clear. Okay.
All right, great. Okay, so hi everyone. I hope everyone's having a great evening. My name is Malka Goldfein, and I'm an adjunct professor in Turok College, and I teach graphic design. I'm also an art director, graphic designer, and a marketer. So today we're going to discuss the career of a graphic designer. What is graphic design? How much do they get paid? And after this, I hope everyone will have a better idea of whether graphic design is a field for you or not. So the first question that many people have is, what does a graphic designer do? So in the next few slides, I'll be showing some of my past work as examples. So a graphic designer does logos. We create logos, and I'll go into it a little bit more, but logos are the identity of a business. And whether you're a brick and mortar store or any business, you need a identity, a visual identity that together with a few other elements creates a brand. So graphic designers make logos, and we create magazine ads, magazine layouts, magazine covers, catalogs, postcards, flyers. We create corporate stationery such as letterheads and business cards and envelopes. And as you see, there's like a floral pattern going on. It's really important to keep consistency throughout the brand, throughout the company. So if you see here, we have packaging that has all that same flower pattern. And of course, we designers make packaging, whether it be shampoo bottles or shipping boxes or labels or wine packaging, any sort of package, we make those. We also make ads such as bus ads. You could resize those for bus stop ads and for billboards. We create content for social media. We also set up social media, like we'll make it look aesthetically pleasing and look good, make you look really professional. So we usually work together with marketers and photographers to create content for Instagram and Pinterest and Facebook and so forth. We also make book cover art and book layout. And of course, we also make digital art, which is websites, mobile apps, and software. So I'm actually going to talk a little bit about digital graphic design, just because the demand for digital graphic design is probably higher than any other thing that we specialize in. And me personally, I've actually been doing mostly websites recently, and it's a lucrative part where you could specialize in graphic design. And as our world goes towards the future, we're only going to be doing more and more digital stuff. And I was reading an article actually that there's like these glasses that you're going to wear, and you're going to walk down the street and you're going to be able to see reviews for the stores, and you're going to see the hours. And just by looking at it and using your eye movement, you're going to be able to see everything in front of you. Where's the park? Where is everything? And like all the information that you would Google on your phone would be actually right in front of you. And as that happens, who's designing that? We are. The designers are designing that experience and whatever it is. So I'm actually going to exit out of the slide for a second and actually show two examples of websites and how different that they can be. So some of you may recognize Kosher Wine Direct, which is actually our Crown Heights store, Wine by the Case. You may have seen it advertised in COL. So this is actually a very complex website. There's like a weekly deals, and you could shop by top picks, top categories. You could shop by popular wines and popular spirits, by brand, and you could see events by their store. They're still getting up and running, but hopefully soon you'll see a lot more activity here. And you could request a quote and get bars and events. And what also makes it very complex is like we have a wine club subscription, and it's a taste preference kind of test, where this is not an out of the box website. This website was built on Shopify, and this is not, you can't do a drag and drop kind of builder for this kind of website. You need to work together with a developer. So you would take a quiz, and it's like it would say, what wines do you like? So you would choose red. Let's say regions would be imported from Israel. Do you like champagne? Do you like rosé? What kind of coffee do you like? Do you like it sweet? I don't drink coffee. What smells do you like best? Oh, I like the beach smell. Do you like a mushroom earthy taste? Yes, and so forth. You would go through the test, and then you would get to the choosing a subscription below. This is actually a great marketing strategy. Over here, where we call them different names to make you feel like you're purchasing the best of the best, and you want to like name them something that someone would think, oh, I'm a sommelier, I might be pronouncing that wrong, or I'm an enthusiast. And then you would select that, and then you can choose them out. So something like this is a very complex website, and you would do something like that with a coder versus I made this website. This is Yad Yocheved. This is a high risk pregnancy organization. And this is basically a drag and drop kind of website that was built from scratch using WordPress and Divi. There was no coder involved. And you obviously also want to make sure that all your websites are responsive, that they fit every screen, because as we go forward into the future, our phones are going to become more dominant. Right now, this is a desktop version of the website. And as you shrink it down, you would see the logo goes over here. That's the tablet view. And then you would have the mobile view, right? So it's basically like designing 3 websites. So yes, this is a very lucrative kind of thing, and I would highly recommend getting into web design. I don't think that there is enough web designers, and I think it's something that a lot of graphic designers shy away from. All right, so, let's get back into our slides. So just to give you a taste of how companies come up with their branding, I wanted to show you some slides of how branding works. So what is branding? Branding is the identity you give to anything, especially a business or product, such as this could be a Bic pen, a Solo cup, right? A Logitech mouse, an Apple iPhone, or Xerox paper. So these are all like branded items that we all know and we use every day. So step number 1 is you want to give the brand a name. You want to make sure it's distinctive and unique. You want to make sure that it cuts through the noise. And you want to make sure that it is memorable. So you want to maybe have a name that describes a brand, such as Dunkin' Donuts, right? Or Dunkin' Donuts, PetSmart, a Smart Pet, Bank of America, The Container Store, Bed Bath & Beyond, and Burger King. Or you can have a name named after a person, such as Ivanka Trump, Dell after Michael Dell, Wendy's is a totally made up name, Ben & Jerry's named after the founders, Ralph Lauren named after the designer, and George Foreman, who I think he was a boxer, not sure, but he has an appliance company, was also named after him. You could have spelling mistakes such as fantastic, Google, which is actually spelled Googol, which means 100 zeros, Tricks, Beatles, which is 2 E's, Reddit, like I've read it, and Flickr, which is missing an E. You can also use compound words such as pin, interest, copper, tone, internet, flicks, drop, box, instant, cart, and Snapchat. And last but not least, you can use made-up words such as Sony, Gatorade, Bugaboo, Oreo, Hulu, and Haagen-Dazs. So actually, interesting fact, Haagen-Dazs is a made-up word to make it sound Swiss, or maybe Swedish. And they put like the 2 little dots on top. But names like this don't explain a company, and therefore there's a lot more marketing dollars that have to go in to explain what really the brand is about, because it's not in the name. All right, then the next thing you want to do is choose a brand colors and fonts. So colors are very, very important. People don't know, but there's psychology behind colors, such as blue conveys dependability and loyalty, red conveys energy, yellow conveys happiness, pink is youth and also energy because it has that red tint in there. And then we have, and that's why also blue, you could see banks. A lot of banks have blue because they want to convey that dependability. And also choosing a font is very important. Fonts have personalities, just like people. So you don't want to use a curly childish font for a bank, and you don't want to use a very Western looking font for a fashion brand. I mean, unless it's the look you're going for. So yes, choosing fonts and colors. Step number 3 would be creating a logo. So Nike, Target, Toyota, Walmart, right? Next thing would be creating an icon. So not every brand has an icon. A well-designed brand usually does have icons, custom icons, and part of the logo. So the Nike swoosh mark, right? So it could stand on its own, and it can also be part of the logo. Then we have Target. The Target, you know that, Toyota, the icon, and Walmart, the sun. Creating a tagline, usually designers do not come up with that. We actually work with a copywriter to create a tagline. So Nike, just do it, right? Expect more, pay less. Toyota, let's go places. And Walmart, save money, live better. Now, if you actually compare Target and Walmart side by side, right, they sell similar things. They're similar in many ways. The color that Target has, youth, is red, right? Youth, energy, excitement. And therefore it's more discerning and stylish, but also conscious, right? So if you actually look at the stores, they're all set up nicer. It has more of a cooler factor to it. Versus Walmart, which is blue, which is traditional, dependable, and safe. And it also says, I'm a smart spender looking for a best deal. So people that want rock bottom prices, they don't care what the store looks like. They just want the best price. So that's the difference there. So what main softwares do designers use? So the three main softwares that designer uses is Adobe Photoshop, which is an image editing and compositing software. You can take any image, you can play with the color, you could cut it up you could slice it up, you can put layers, you blend them, you blur them, you could do crazy photo manipulation. So this is actually an example that I created in Touro College when I was a student. This hung up in Starbucks in Park Slope, if anybody was there. That was, there's a bunch of these cool photo manipulations hanging up on the walls. All right, so there you have the ball, you have a picture of a cracked window, and you have the person's reaction, and then you have the blurred background. You basically can manipulate photos to do whatever you want it to do. Then we have Adobe Illustrator, which is a vector graphics and illustration software. So you create things from scratch, such as logos and icons and illustrations, right? So what vector means is that you can stretch it as big as anything. You can print it as big as a building. There's no limit to how big it can be, versus a photo based is like whatever the camera took, that's like the biggest it is. And if you find a really bad quality online, then you're stuck with that quality and you can't make it better quality. So that's the perks of having a vector. And then we have, whoops, sorry, pen went flying up there. All right, so then we have an Adobe, then there's Adobe InDesign, which is a page design and layout program for print and digital publishing. So this program, you could create PDFs and magazine layouts and book layouts and ads, everything. So you would basically take those photos and those logos and those icons and put text on it. It's basically a layout program. Now, obviously, when you specialize into different things in design, you are going to know, you're going to need to know other things. So for instance, I specialize in web design. So I also know Adobe XD, and and also I know Shopify, Volusion, WordPress, Weebly, and like so many different platforms, because you want to be able to give the customer options and be able to work with, whatever it is, versus a 3D designer might want to know Blender and Maya. And as you specialize in different things, you would want to know different programs. So I am not creative. Someone says, I'm not creative. Can I still be a graphic designer? So I think most people usually say, no, you can't. I actually happen to disagree. I think that there are some positions that are more left-brained and more analytical and logical. So these are just some that I just thought of quickly, but I'm sure that there are even more. So product design and UX design, which happen to be very similar, is when there is, basically it's user experience. You have a designer either take an existing website or software, and they do user testing, they lay it out differently to make sure it's more clickable and more user-friendly, and they do analytics and testing, and basically it's not, I wouldn't say it's a very creative field, and I think it uses a lot more of a left brain. And what's interesting about product design is that product design is a really high in demand position, and there is not enough people in it, and it pays really, really well. So I'm going to slide out just so we could see that, and I'm going to go back in. Okay, let me see. Hold on. Okay, we are gonna go. Sorry, I'm just like losing everything here. Give me 1 second. I don't know what just happened. Not entirely sure. Oh, there we go. My thing is just being blocked a little by the Zoom on top. Oh gosh, still blocking. All right, there we go. So if you go to glassdoor.com and we're going to go under salaries and do Brooklyn, New York, and we're going to type in product designer and go search. You will see that a product designer on average makes $86,000 a year. However, if you actually look in more detail, Etsy pays $118,000. Facebook is paying $179,000. Okay, these low paying guys, skip them. All right, Spotify pays $124,000. Children's Place pays $101,000. You get the point. Capital One pays $101,000. AGI pays $100,000. You could get a really nice paying job knowing product design, and that does not involve too much creativity. All right. Then we have book layout. So I have a book here. So if you see, a book has a lot of text and some images, and it's not a very creative kind of thing. And laying out books is also more left brain. It's not as fun and it's not as creative. I mean, I would not want to do that, but I'm sure there's people that would love laying out books, and you know, that's definitely a more left brained kind of job. Then there's font designers who design fonts, either custom fonts for companies or they put fonts for sale. That also has a lot of precision and mathematics involved in it, and it takes a lot of time and effort, and also is, I would not say as creative and more left-brained. So what kind of graphic designers are there? So there's in-house designers at a company. You're usually 1 or 3 or 4 designers working for a company, and you do everything for their business. Whatever is needed, you're their person. There might be a little bit of hierarchy. Usually you're working side by side. Then there's a designer at an agency. That usually has a really big hierarchy. You're working on multiple projects and with multiple people, obviously depending on how big the agency is. So you usually have an art director, then you have a senior designer, and then a junior designer. And then you have sometimes even people in between. And then you work together with a developer, a copywriter, an illustrationist, with different people. Then there's a freelancer. So freelancers are, you know, a lot of people love freelance, and you can set your hours, you can set your pay. You could be a stay-at-home mom, or if you want to be a lot more flexible, you don't want to be tied down to a desk only when you want to be tied down, right? So a freelancer is a great, then it's great for you. The downside of being a freelancer is you have to find your own clients, and that just might not be so simple. Some people are just, you know, have a hard time with that. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so how much does a graphic designer get paid? So we saw how much a product designer gets paid, and we're going to actually X out and actually go back to our browser. I'm all over the place today, losing my mouse. What happens when you have 2 screens? All right, so we have a senior graphic designer. And again, this is not a freelancer, a senior graphic designer. Makes on average $63,000. But I will tell you this, if you're really, really good and you have an amazing portfolio, you can probably make upwards of that. So you'll see Hearst Company pays $72,000. Newmark Knight Frank pays $63,000. Cushman Wakefield pays $76,000. Nature's Bounty pays $78,000. There's $85,000, $81,000. You see there's American Eagle pays $150,000 to $180,000.
Malka, if I could just interrupt you for 1 second. For those of you listening, since we're heading towards the end of this workshop, if you have questions, please email us workforce@jccgci.org so we can pose them to Malka as we head towards the end of the presentation. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, no problem. Okay, and then we have a junior graphic designer who makes less because they're still in their first years and they're still building up their portfolio, about $48,000, $50,000. All right, so I just want to cover everything. So we're going to just rush through a little bit more just because we have a time limit there. All right. You know what, let me actually exit out. Sorry, just going back to the website. So where can I get educated in the field? So college is a great place to get educated because you get a degree. And a lot of big brands want you to get a degree. A lot of big companies want you to get a degree. So I happen to have a degree in marketing and graphics, which I think goes really, really well hand in hand because you actually understand things a lot more and more full circle. College is great. You can get hands-on education and it's definitely a great option, and you come out with a really, really great portfolio. So the downside of it is it costs a lot, and also you need to take prerequisites such as math and English and science. YouTube is great, but it's, you know, I learned a lot from it, but it's very out of sorts. Like you have to go through thousands and thousands of videos, and it's not like in chronological order. So lynda.com, if you have a Brooklyn Public Library card, you could Google BPL and lynda.com. And there's like this link over here, and you could just put in your barcode and your PIN, and you're able to have access to like all your classes. You could get like, for instance, this one over here is like a few hours long, and it's in chronological order. You have step-by-step everything, and this is just like learning Photoshop. I'm actually gonna X out of that.
Photoshop is the industry standard for creative visual expression.
So you see,
whether
like,
you're
goes
looking to
through
pursue a
classes.
career in design or photography.
It just basically walks you through. And then you can go to udemy.com, or it's Udemy, I'm not entirely sure. And you could buy courses there as well. And you could see reviews. It's a little more costly, but I think it's definitely well worth it. And I would say it's way better than Lynda, because you can actually see how many people are taking the courses and just buy those. It's just loading a little long. Like you could have Illustrator, you could learn Illustrator. You see it's over here, it's 13 hours. There's 21,000 people that bought it. There's 5-star reviews, and it's, you know, it's definitely really worth it. If you are more of a hands-on person, I would recommend coursehorse.com. You can actually get courses in different things, like say Photoshop, and some of them give certificates. Also, Udemy gives certificates as well. So you can actually get in-person graphic design sessions. Like this is 10 sessions. It costs $975 Wednesday, and it's every Wednesday. And then there's like, you know, it really varies. So that's definitely a great place. And then boot camps such as General Assembly and Flatiron are great places as well. So the only thing is General Assembly and Flatiron only do digital design, so not as much standard design. The importance of having a portfolio is super important. Without a portfolio, you're not gonna land a job, at least not a good one. I hope not. It would not. You need to show your work. You need to be able to show your work. And I highly recommend that you would have a printed portfolio to bring with you to your interview, and then a PDF to attach with your resumes and your cover letters. And then having an online presence is very important. Either having a website or Behance or Dribbble. I'm actually on Behance, and when I started putting up things, I actually started getting a lot of jobs. So yeah, that's really important. And I actually have a student, Nechama Zukin. I actually follow her on Behance if anyone's interested in checking out her work. She actually created her Behance profile in my class, and she landed a job in Media OTG as an intern. They do Golden Flow, they did the Bingo stuff, they do Kemach, I think, Geffen, like the big brands. And after that, she became their full-time employee just off of having like, her stuff on Behance and being out there. So working with contracts and deposits, that is so important. This pertains more to freelance. Contracts are so important. It doesn't matter if they're friends or family, if you trust them, if you respect them, doesn't matter. Always have a contract. Things set in stone. If there's ever any issues, if there's ever any arguments, you're able to go back into your contract and see all the details in there. And in there, you lay out ownership rights. If the client isn't getting back to you in time, you want to be able to say, okay, I'm not going to meet the deadlines if you're not going to sign off on things. You lay out how you get paid. So I usually do 10,000 and lower, you split it 50-50. Also depending on whether it's like a person or a big company. And then like, obviously it's up to you how you feel you would do it, but like 10,000 up, you would probably want to split it up into 3 to 4 payments. And then having deposits is very important. You don't want to start the work and then know that they decide, oh, I changed my mind. Oh, I don't like this. So, like whatever case scenario that there is. So yeah, if anyone has any questions or comments after the session, I could be reached at malka.grush@gmail.com. And I'm going to open up the webinar for questions. Rabbi Wardy.
Okay, so first of all, I have to say that it was very thorough and extremely professional, and clearly you're a master at your craft, a beautifully designed presentation, and thank you very much for that. Really awesome. Actually, we're very low on time, so I'm just going to take one question that somebody asked that you didn't mention. I mean, it seems very popular nowadays. A lot of people use this online tool called Canva. Does Canva fit in anywhere? Like if somebody's good at Canva, is that a springboard to anywhere else?
I'm in a designer group and they talk about Canva, but I'm not entirely sure what Canva is. Is that
it's an online design place that just makes it very easy. Like there's pre-prepared
the
designs, and
right?
there's templates, and
that's how I created. I created my baby's bris invitations and show them for like just
right. But is that a springboard to anything? I'm like, you spoke so much about Adobe. Are Adobe tools the only tools that are out there?
You can't really design in Canva. Canva is, I think, for the non-designers. It's for the people that they're already preset designs. You're just putting in your text and everything. So you're not really
Well, you could also start from scratch. I've spent some time on it just because it makes it easier sometimes when you want to do something without having to do a graphic designer. But making the question more broader, you spoke specifically.
Be a professional graphic design.
So Adobe are the only tools that graphic designers use, pretty much?
So there are others, such as Corel for illustrations, but it's not as popular. Adobe is definitely industry standard, and everyone uses Adobe, so you can't go wrong. Knowing Adobe, you're good. Mm-hmm. Like there are other programs, and there's GIMP for Photoshop, but it's hard to use, and it's like everything's gonna take you 10 times as long. And the files and everything. Adobe is it's perfect. You have all these suites. It's called the Creative Cloud Suite, and everything works together. You literally drag and drop the Photoshop to the Illustrator to the InDesign, and it works with each other. So right. I'm not as familiar with other programs, but I wouldn't say that. Most people just know Adobe.
Okay, and it's just one last question that we'll squeeze in over here. You mentioned earlier about the product design, right? Was that product design you were talking about? But so you take the same graphic design courses, and that qualifies you to be a product designer. I mean, you'll notice the graphic designer.
UX, UI design.
Okay, but the product, when you were doing those Glassdoor, when you were showing us Glassdoor before, so the product designer was starting at $150,000, $120,000, and the graphic designer was making making 50. But it seems to be, you made it like the product design is much easier, and somehow
product designer, it's different. It's not that it's easier, it's different. It's not as creative, and you actually, like general assembly, they would teach you UX, UI, and product design, which is basically testing it. And it's not, it's not as creative. And usually you're taking already an existing platform that's not doing as well. And these designers come in and these product designers come in and they do it so that it either creates more sales or users are able to understand things better. It's more the flow and the places of everything, the buttons and everything like that.
Okay. So it's a different learning skills then also. It's not necessarily.
It's UX UI. Yeah. It's
Right.
still under the graphic design umbrella, but it's definitely, it's as I say, you specialize in that. Like you specialize in web design. Like a regular graphic designer that doesn't know HTML and CSS won't even know how to get their way around a website. You need to know certain things to specialize in those things. I personally, I don't do 3D animation. I can use what I'm given from another graphic designer, but I don't know how to use Maya or use Blender.
Okay. All right. So we're really out of time. So first of all, awesome. Again, thank you so much. So professional, so thorough.
Thank you.
For all of you watching, once again, the JCC Workforce Program, which is in partnership with CHYE, is here to help you with all your career and job needs throughout the year. If you're looking for a job, if you lost a job now and you're looking for a new job, if you need career counseling, resume writing, interview prep, reach out to us, please. Workforce@JCCGCI. Join us again tomorrow night, 9 o'clock. We'll be doing very exciting, popular industry in our community, sales. We have Yitzi Kamen, who's a sales trainer, who's going to be talking all about the sales industry. Wednesday night, we will be doing hairstyling and Shetelmacher. And then Thursday night, we will be doing accounting. So stay with us the next 3 nights, 9 o'clock. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. Thank you
right.
very much, Malka.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Okay.
All
All the
right.
very
Have a
best
great
and much
night.
continued Hatzlacha. You too.
Thank you. And
right.
you too.
Yes. Thank you so much. All the best.
You too.